You gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Oh, they're not posted yet, sir.
2 C's, 2 D's, and an F. That's a 1.2 grade average. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
This is WICR.
From the basement of La Penta, this is your host, The Rock is on this first Monday of May 2nd, 2016. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of recap of the NFL draft, NBA playoffs, few Game 7s going on yesterday, but let's talk about the NFL draft with the local teams and the New York Jets and the New York Giants. And we'll start off with the Jets. Now, with there was a lot of speculation going on with the Jets saying, are they going to draft Paxton Lynch? Are they going to get this player? Are they going to get that? You know, the whole 9 yards. But the thing is, were they really going to get a quarterback in the first round? And the way it played, and the way it turned out, though, they winded up drafting. They passed on Paxton Lynch, and they winded up drafting inside linebacker Darren Lee from Ohio State. And, you know, I think this is a good pickup for the Jets, a good draft quality for the Jets because, you know what, inside linebacker, they were thin on that. You know, they're trying to move on from Calvin Pace, who's aging and steadily in decline and regressed, you know. And I think, and you know, watching the videos, I think he's going to make an impact on the Jets this season. I really think he is. As for the Giants' first-round pick, they acquired another player from Ohio State in cornerback Eli Apple. So, you know, the Giants, you know, they're continuing to make the transition, still making the progression on defense, you know, putting a lot of emphasis on the defensive side of the ball. You know, they had a phenomenal free agency, you know, acquiring Damian Harrison, Olivier Vernon, and Janarius Jenkins, and now they're continuing to improve on that. So, you know what, the Giants, you know, with their defense going into next year, you have to like their chances to compete for the NFC East. And plus, out of the 4 quarterbacks in the NFC East, which is assuming Bradford starts for the Eagles, assuming, you have Eli Manning, Tony Romo, RG3, Kirk Cousins. You know, out of those 4 quarterbacks, Eli Manning is the best one. Hands down. And you know what? Like I said, you gotta like the Giants' chances of winning the division going into next year. But as we know, the Giants, as you know, games aren't won on paper. You have to play to win the game, and they're won on the field. But, you know, overall, I like the direction that the Giants are going with their defense, you know, and putting a lot of emphasis on that side of the ball. And you know what? They're going to get better on offense, eventually. Because with their second-round pick, they drafted Sterling Shepard, who was a wide receiver from Oklahoma, and I think he's a good slot receiver, and I think he's going to replace Ruben Randall in that regard. So you know what, the Giants, they're looking good. They're going to be competitive next year. You'll see. Now moving back to the Jets, we'll go to their second-round pick, and this was a bit of a head scratcher to me as a Jet fan. They drafted Christian Hackenberg, who was projectedly to be, I think he was maybe the 5th or 6th quarterback in the draft, because you had Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, then Paxton Lynch, and then I guess you had Connor Cook and then him. And, you know, like I said, this is just a bit of a head scratcher to me because, you know, the Jets, they're still trying to they're still trying to re-sign Ryan Fitzpatrick to at least maybe a 2-3 year deal, you know, just for the immediate future. They have Geno Smith, who's who's kind of a bit of on the outside, you know, and he's had his struggles, had some shining moments, but had his struggles. And you have Bryce Petty, who's supposedly a quote-unquote a system quarterback or a college system quarterback. But, you know, this was a head-scratcher to me because I felt like, you know, you hear a lot of things with Hackenberg saying, oh, you know, he can't make a lot of throws. He has a low completion percentage. You know, he can't throw under duress. He can't throw under pressure. You know, it's just odd in a way. But, you know, I trust, like I said, in last week's segment, I believe in Mike Maccagnan. I trust Mike Maccagnan. He's been in this business for so long. You have to have a feeling that he knows what he's doing, and he's a football guy. So you have to trust his eyes, and you have to trust his instincts. Maybe he sees something that, the other scouts from the other 31 teams didn't. You got to go in that route. And who knows? Could this be a steal, or could this be another Jet bust at the quarterback position? Plus, you figure, if they do resign Fitzpatrick and them drafting Hackenberg, they can probably cut loose with Geno Smith sometime during training camp. Because, historically, when a new coach and a new general manager inherits a team, they're more likely going to bring in their own quarterback. They drafted Petty last year, and now this year they drafted Hackenberg. And Geno Smith wasn't a Mike Maccagnan draft pick. He was a John Izek, or a failure of John Izek draft class back in 2013. But, it should be interesting. It's interesting to see how this all plays out for the Jets. Is Fitz going to be back? Is Geno Smith going to be the starter? Todd Bowles even said, Geno Smith is going to be the starter going into OTAs and going into training camp. But, you kind of assume that there's probably going to be a slight competition, But if they don't have Fitz, so Smith is probably going to take over Smith is going to be the one spot, and then you figure maybe Petty is going to be the 2, and then Hackenberg 3, or maybe they bring in another guy. Who knows? It's all a big enigma. But like I said, it should be interesting. It should be compelling to watch, come July when training camp opens. And as Jet fans, some feel optimistic, some feel pessimistic. But you know what? That's part of the NFL, and that's part of the draft. And that concludes our first segment of The Rock is On.